Okay, thank you, Toastmasters Melanie, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and other guests. Um, it's finally good to be here because I was just tested positive a couple weeks ago, but I will not talk about that. So, speaking of COVID, do you realize that in just 5 months from now, we will refer to 2020 as 2 years ago? Isn't it crazy and insane? It felt like just yesterday, but it's actually 2 years ago. So, how has 2020 been treating you guys so far? My name is Sandra Clarisa, and as for me, 2020 has been treating me so quite well. So I think it was my record breaking rock bottom moment in my life, mentally and emotionally. Like, have you ever felt like you no longer know who you are, even though you're the person you've been lived with the entire time? This is how I knew there was something wrong in me when I couldn't think of anything positive about myself because my view about myself was already corrupted. Or have you ever felt lonely in the middle of a crowd? So it was me back then on the Christmas dinner when it was supposedly joyful and peaceful, but suddenly I am shocked because tears dropping down my cheek out of nowhere just when I stared at the wall. And I'm sure it wasn't because of Jesus or any Christian sermon, I can share. So yeah, I seek for help, and one psychiatrist calls my condition an anxiety disorder. Well, I know very few things about mental health, but I refuse to believe that this condition is permanent for me. Why? Because my life motto has been LUFREDNOW for the longest time. Yes, it is the title of my speech, and LUFREDNOW is not a real word. You won't find it, and it doesn't have a real meaning. But for me, it's actually wonderful spelled backwards. And it is LUFREDNOW is the mantra I tell myself whenever life doesn't make sense. It reminds me to keep pushing forward because I believe I will arrive at one point in my life that I can look back and reminisce to see that actually my life was wonderful. Like when I look back, I can totally see that, oh yeah, that failures make sense. That shit that happens 2 years ago makes sense. So what happened after the Christmas dinner? So I resigned from my job and took a 2 months break without knowing where to land next because I insanely need a break. So some of my friend calls me crazy, but heck, what's more crazy is to let this dark hole swallow me from the inside out. So during those 2 months, so my last day was on February, and during since then I was focused totally to heal myself. I want to reinvent myself. I want to live again with the Sandra that I used to know, which is positive, cheerful, and optimistic about things. And that's why during these 2 months, I went back to what I really love, which is trying out new things to fulfill my curiosity, reconnecting with human stories. So I try an internship. I joined an internship, even though that sounds weird because I'm no longer fresh grad. I also branched out to people and had one-on-one session with 60 people. And joining Toastmaster was one of the wish lists that I've been put on hold for too long. That's why I reconnected with Toastmaster Hansel last March. So my prayer back in Christmas dinner 2020 is that, oh God, please, please, I want 2021 be the best year of my life. And we're already halfway, and I am confident to say, yes, it seems like it. And um, what 2020 does to me is that it validates my life view that actually is just life is a book. It full and consists of episodes, pages, chapters. So whenever life makes no sense, when everything works against you, remember that maybe it's only chapter 4, 5, or 6, and it's not the final chapter. So don't put the pen down. Write the chapter that you want to read because you are the lead character. And remember, LUFREDNOW, whenever life doesn't make sense, you can always look back and you can finally see that your life is actually wonderful. Thank you and have a nice evening, everyone.
When I first read your speech title, Toastmasters Sandra, I actually had to write it over and over again. It is indeed wonderful written backwards. And congratulations for breaking the ice, Toastmasters Sandra. And there are three things that I love about your speech. First, the key message of your speech speaks loud enough in your content. It seems like the quotation, whenever life throws you lemon, better make lemonades, it's in your content. You have indeed controlled your life with your own mantra, LUFREDNOW, and it is life is wonderful. The second one is Toastmaster Sandra, everyone, also caught our attention by sharing her personal story. Well, it is indeed icebreaker speech anyway. People love listening to personal stories. And for Toastmaster Sandra, continue to reflect on your life and be our life influencer. And the third one is that Toastmaster Sandra is a natural public speaker. She delivered her speech as if she is used to talking to a lot of people. Her facial expressions, eye contact, and even gestures were aligned to what she was saying. Like when she enumerated that she wanted to be positive, cheerful, better person, you can see it in her hand gestures that gave emphasis on this enumeration. And to help you and everyone to take your speech into another level next time, here are my humble suggestions. The first is maximizing your space by choosing your body posture. Since we are actually in virtual meeting, not all Toastmasters would actually choose to stand, but I would recommend you to stand next time. And also to check yourself if you are within the frame. I can see your face. However, I cannot see this part anymore. And you are doing your hands gestures, and I can only see the tip of your fingers. It would be better if you move a little backwards so that we can see your hand gestures clearly. And second, you may want to work on with your pacing and intonation so that it will not look like you are excited all throughout your speech. There are stories in your speech that you may want to slow down so that we can swallow your emotions in that very moment. Like when you say, however, I had COVID a few weeks ago, but I will not talk about it. So you just change your intonation so that we will also have the change of emotions. Nonetheless, it is an amazing speech that makes us reminisce of our 2020 and what are the plans we actually want on this 2020 part 2. Thank you for reminding us that though we are facing struggles, life is indeed wonderful and